Hello and welcome to the Pens&Pixels podcast, episode 72. I'm your host, Cal G, and to my left is the coordinator extraordinaire,
Mike Kent.
The podcast is the place to come to hear about the art and news of video games, comics, and movies that week.
So if you like crass and you like sass, then you don't want to miss us out on this podcast.
Ooh, that's a hot one. That's
hot
new.
one.
Hot one. 2 new ones in a row. Can you keep it up?
I can. I just rhyme a lot of things with ass.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's basically our podcast in a nutshell. So, despite everything you just heard there, no news this week. I am off on an Easter vacation, quote unquote.
I don't know if family counts as vacation.
Yeah, family events, I can't record. You already know you could have recorded, yeah, so...
No, I couldn't either, too. Like, it's Easter. Things get fucked up.
Yeah.
Jesus died, didn't he?
Yeah, everyone always jokes about zombie Jesus this time of year.
Yeah.
There's a giant rabbit we need to be really more concerned about, I think.
And the fact that it's laying eggs, which means that it's probably multiplying.
You know what? Like, Easter bunny... Easter Bunny...
It's the car that comes down.
Easter Bunny was the first one out of all these, Santa and all this shit where I first was like, that's a little ludicrous. That this giant rabbit comes in, doesn't leave any fur, and doesn't shit in our house. Like, I was like,
I never bought the bunny rabbit portion of it. My parents always tried to sell those things really hard. Mm-hmm. But, like, the Easter bunny, like, literally the first moment, I don't care how old I was just like, nope. Like,
yeah, I remember very early on just not buying it.
I like that it's just a day that you and I play a game where you hide chocolate eggs and I find them.
Yeah.
Plus, you can't play a game of hot and cold with the Easter eggs everywhere, or the chocolate eggs everywhere, and tell me that the rabbit came in, you saw the rabbit. And then you told him, he gave
you a map.
Yeah. That didn't happen.
No, that's true, very true. Yeah, he's the most bullshit one, probably.
I don't think the companies did a very good job thinking up of a magic of a character for us to buy into.
No, I don't think so either. No one really pushes the Easter Bunny as hard as they push Santa. Anyways, this week we're going to be doing another 5-minute warning, where we do rapid-fire question and answer about a slew of fucking topics. I mean, whatever, it's just anything. Yeah. It's a lot of gaming, a lot of movies, a lot of comic book stuff. So, if that's something interesting to you, stick around. Mike, is there any Pens and Pixels housekeeping you'd like to say?
Not really at the moment, but we do have some interesting endeavors coming up. Keep yourself really tuned into the YouTube channel. There's going to be a lot coming out on there coming soon. We're also going to be providing some new online content stuff and some more community growing. We even have some VR stuff that we're going to be tackling with local VR companies. So just keep yourself tuned into the website and to the YouTube channel and check us out there.
And with that, let's start the 5-minute warning. Woo! Woo! Woo!
Why didn't you use an actual song? You used the song real soundtrack last time, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And now my Wii U's are going to be going over this whole bit we're talking right now. There's going to be music on top of this.
Awesome.
Well done. Probably sounds pretty cool. Yeah. Watch me forget. All right. All right. Start the timer.
Starting the timer.
What's the longest amount of time you've played in a single-player game, and what game was it?
In one sitting or just in total?
Ooh, I want to hear both now. Just I was thinking of in total, like
in total.
Yeah.
So we'll do in total first. Longest time I ever spent...
Does it multiple playthroughs count? Like, does it?
No, one playthrough.
One playthrough.
One playthrough.
So if I played Persona 4 twice, it doesn't count as like 300 hours or whatever I put in.
It's what's the question then?
What's the longest amount of time you've played a single player game?
I think I played one playthrough.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. For me, shoot, is that the longest? Or
what's the one you're thinking of?
It's a tie, and they're really close because I can't remember the exact hours. But Final Fantasy X, it was like 136 to 141 hours.
Ooh.
And that was doing like all the stupidity shit, like getting the blitz ball done properly. And,
yes.
And doing the lightning dodging and all that shit. That's what turned it into that much time. Plus also doing that stupid extra super hard dungeon.
Yeah, the side one.
Yeah. Took a really fucking long time to get through. So that was a long one. And then the other one was actually Xenogears. Was close to that. Now, it doesn't have as much of that content, but a lot of the time, like, if you went off and tried to get all the little side story stuff, which was even just activating little conversations that happened by standing in one spot, which did nothing. I did it because I was obsessed with that game. So I think that one was... I think it was only 127 for that one. So I think it's Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's got to be a JRPG, right? Yeah. Like, there's so few things. Well, I'm surprised you didn't say World of Warcraft, but that's not single player. That makes sense. Yeah, no. Never mind. Yeah. I think for me, it's either Final Fantasy X, like you said, or Persona 4. I played Persona 4... I cracked 100 hours, which is rare for me. I usually do not crack 100 hours.
No, I don't usually crack
That's not a normal thing. Even in JRPGs, like they take... I was 50 hours... I think I beat 15 at 50 hours,
Like 9 took a shit ton of time trying to do all of the fucking Kokobo stuff and then trying to get up to a point where you could take on Ozma or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, Ozma.
Yeah, like that was a lot of work, but it didn't take quite as long since a lot of that stuff in that game is timed to particular discs. So like you couldn't just sit there and do it for a long time. Like catching all the fucking frogs took a long time. So it was close, but I would say that's more of a 90-hour game.
Yeah, no, 10 definitely took more time. There's more stuff to do. Yeah. I felt like so.
But 10 was just the one that had way more.
But you're right. Yeah, I played 10 and trying to get the Chocobo balloon race to get exactly 0 is fucking annoying. And like the lightning strike thing, I don't think I ever did that.
I did.
Fuck, did I? Yeah. I tried for a long time. I don't actually remember if I did it.
I got everything in 10, literally 100% completion. But what about one sitting? Like, how long is the longest sitting in one shot where, like, your ass was probably atrophying?
God. I mean, just the other day I played Persona from when I got off work till, like, 3 a.m. Basically. I took a break where I, like, made dinner and did that stuff, so I probably was up for, like, 2-3 hours at a point. But, like, that was a pretty long time, and that was the longest time in a long time that I've done that.
The most recent one is actually Horizon, because Jed left for a weekend, and I played Horizon from waking to not sleeping. Like, the sun was up by the time I was like, all right, this has got to turn off. So, like, it was over 12 hours easily.
Yeah.
But that's not the first time. I do remember playing, we were just talking about it. Why it's a green hat, popular dude.
Link.
Thank you. Zelda. Playing a second round of Majora's Mask and like getting all like doing the time loops and everything and trying to get all the perfects. Blah blah. Like I sat through that in my own apartment for like ever. That was a really long sitting.
Me and Cheese Toast Kid would spend like 7 p.m. at night, and we just we were kids and we just play through and try to beat Resident Evil 2 that night, and all the way up until we fell asleep at 4 a.m. type thing, like that, that's also...
For single player, it's hard to do. Now, we were just, in the quick last few seconds, we've got to talk about multiplayer. 2 multiplayer things I played the most. World of Warcraft, I have done a 48-hour sitting where I just had pizza delivered and I didn't...
Holy fuck, that's crazy.
Like, and I just raided for, like, ever. Like, I think I probably maybe done a 3-day stretch where I didn't even leave the house. It was bad and it's tough.
I think I also played...
Smash Brothers was another one I played.
Ooh, that's a good call. I mean, if we're doing that... I was going to say Street Fighter. I played Street Fighter for very long times.
You did?
Next up, start the timer.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nice, easy one.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite indie experience / game? Now, mine...
What does that mean, indie experience?
Gone Home. It's more of an experience than a game to
like
me.
an experience with game. Okay.
Because it's not you're just walking around reading.
Yeah.
My obvious choice... And the thing I probably put, another thing I put a lot of time into, not in one sitting though, is The Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
I've played The Binding of Isaac more than most games in my life probably at this point, and I still fucking love it. I played it this month already like twice. Like I played it in between Horizon sessions occasionally when like I was nearing the end of Horizon. I was like, I can go for some Isaac.
Yeah.
I love Isaac. Everything about it. Edmund McMillan put it out as a Flash game initially, and like it just grew into this giant thing. Awesome game, awesome community surrounding it. I fucking love that game. It's my absolute favorite indie game of all time.
It's the thing. I don't actually play as many indie games as I should.
You had Firewatch for sure.
That's the thing. Firewatch is high on my list currently. As my most recent indie game that I really enjoyed. Definitely Firewatch. It was definitely a very cool art experience. I'm also just debating, does the game as art kind of like almost cusping past indie games count? So Journey.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
just cusp past indie.
Yeah, because I think that's like published by Sony technically, so it's not indie, but like it is. Like it's a very indie experience. Yeah, I think I can count. That'll fly.
Yeah, because
we make our own rules here. Like fuck it.
Because the thing is like experience-wise, for like the one I've enjoyed the most, the best experience I ever had was with Journey. I didn't really know what to expect from that game. Everyone told me it was just this flowing thing, and you turn it on, and it did. It just coasted through 3 hours. Wham.
Mm-hmm.
And you can. I do all the time. I just toss it back on.
Just to experience it.
Just to go through. And you can do it in like under an hour if you know what you're doing. And then that's it. And that's good. And it's just like...
That's nice.
It's like taking a nice hot shower or a long bath or something. You know, and you're just like, push forward. And that's it.
That's it.
That's
just
all
nice. It's beautiful.
It just flows through. And it feels good. And like
there's a scarf.
Yeah, and there's a scarf, and it's pretty, and like the Journey is one of the best experiences I've ever had, because Firewatch had its things where I was like kind of jarringly stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know if it's the best experience, but it's one of the best indie games I've ever had the good chance to play. But I gotta say also, one of the other games I've really enjoyed that's definitely indie is Dust and Elysium Tale.
Oh yeah.
I fucking loved playing that.
I have mad respect for that game. Just how it was made by one dude.
And... One dude who arted and animated and programmed that whole fucking thing.
Yes.
I want to know where you came from.
Yeah, what happened to you that you're this good at this?
Yeah, like how did you do this? Art style, the writing, all of it was really fun. I got hooked on playing that game, even though it was a repetitive system.
I actually didn't like the art style itself of the characters. I liked everything else. The characters themselves I wasn't a fan of. Great animation though.
I loved the art style of everything, even the characters.
I hated the faces, especially.
Yeah,
I just thought they were ugly.
Oh,
whatever that little fucking fox thing to your side was.
Yeah,
fairy fox, whatever it was. I hated it. Yeah.
Oh,
just the way it looked, it was fine. Like otherwise.
Yeah.
And the backgrounds were gorgeous. And the animation itself was like fucking fluid.
It was very much an inspiration for me to want to get into doing a lot of the 2D game work I have done currently. Was Dust, because like I saw that and I saw the potential of being able to be an artist. Not just in the context of a concept artist for AAA titles, but for doing it as indie. Like, doing concept as a stage in indie is almost pointless, because you don't need all those concepts and all those stages to go through that production cycle. You need to just produce and get the game up way faster, because you should be building an indie game in like a year or two, right? But as an artist, to include yourself in the indie world, to be able to draw and create 2D assets and isometric assets, Bastion's another good example, and Transistor and stuff like that. Seeing that, I was like, holy shit, I can turn my concept skills into creating in-game assets. Because I don't want a 3D model. I don't want to fucking 3D model. Stop asking me to 3D model. But
we want our art styles represented in game.
Yeah, I want to be able to draw and put it into a game.
It's one of the reasons I like Binding of Isaac so much, because I see like something very similar to my own like art style being on screen. Before the timer's up, I want to fucking mention Shovel Knight is a goddamn perfect game. I love it so much. Yacht Club Games hit it out of the park. Made a platformer that's one of the greatest of all time in my opinion. In 2014, like how did you guys do that? Like excellent game. I didn't even believe the hype at first. I was like, how's this the best platform of all time? Like Mario and Mega Man already exist, and then they just fucking.
You know what I also really liked was the one with that little robot that was a point and click one.
Mighty Number 9. No.
Oh.
Robot point and click.
God, what was it called? It was a little indie game, and it's just like this little like bucket robot.
I guess the world will never know.
Fuck, what is that called?
Bucket Bot.
No, it was a little indie game, and it's like almost like it was 2D, and it's like King's Quest, where like you would push forward and you walk over, and then you had to like click on certain parts and you'd interact with it.
Chibi Robo?
And it was all in this robot world that was like steampunky, broken down. Oh, it was really good.
Mike's having a stroke. Start the timer.
Machinarium, that's it.
I still don't know what that is.
No?
Still a stroke, people.
You can't not know this. It's beautiful, and it was wonderful art style. Machinarium.
Everyone, start Googling it right now, because that's what Mike's doing.
There it is. There, that one.
No.
Really?
I've never seen this.
It's amazing. Look, it's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam, a 4.6 out of 5, and a 9 out of 10 on Destructoid. Like, it's awesome.
It's like recent too. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck is this? No.
No, it was great. I love Machinarium.
Huh. All right, start the timer.
Yeah.
What should Supermassive Games do next? The developer behind Until Dawn.
What they've only done Until Dawn?
Yes.
Why does their name keep jumping up all the time then?
What do you mean?
Well, I always feel like they keep coming up. Anyways, that's another discussion.
Well, I mean, I think they made that stupid VR game too, the Until Dawn Rush of Blood, which is just like you're on a roller coaster and you're shooting clowns or some shit. Yeah. Clowns, I bet, don't like that game either.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's a reference to last week's podcast where there was a story about it. Go back and listen to it. I would honestly just love for Supermassive to continue doing horror. They nailed it so with Until Dawn, like, because studios of that kind, I feel like they're trying to nail something. They're like David Cage's games, like Beyond Human, Two Soul, Fuck Off, or whatever it's called.
They're doing Detroit Human now.
Yeah, Detroit Human. Yeah, so Supermassive is I feel they're going to continue in that style of games because they're clearly very good at it. Mm-hmm. And David Cage is doing these weird dramas and shit, and like they did horror so well. I just want to see them continue doing different takes on different horrors. Maybe like a fucking cosmic horror, like Lovecraftian tale. Mm-hmm. It would be really cool from them. Or continue like dismantling tropes from different things. You guys tackled slashers and supernatural. Like maybe next time you can do some sort of exorcism twist or something.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to see them continue doing horror. I don't think I want to switch them to change genres. They have to stick to storytelling. And definitely more of that interaction kind of stuff. Like, I like that. But, like, if I was going to pick, like, a horror for them to do, like, let's get specific here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I mean, it would be cool if they did, like, so take Detroit Become Human, but make it into, like, a horror sci-fi, like, like robots killing you or something. That would be really neat. Again, I keep on thinking, like, everyone always goes to something really fantastical, but Heavy Rain was supposed to be, like, this deep psychological thriller about this serial killer thing. It had its moments, but it never went as far as it could, and I always keep on thinking that if those guys had taken on Heavy Rain, it would have been really fucked up. Because, like, all those scenes that everyone likes, like, oh, he had to cut off his own finger and all that stuff, like, it's those core ideas of this guy doing all this stuff to save his kid is really clever, right? But could you imagine what they would have done psychologically to really push that genre?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Very specific Heavy Rain kind of game.
Yeah, let's give them like a detective game with like a true crime twist, and it's like a fucked up serial killer.
Yeah.
Ooh, Mike, you get me excited for something that doesn't exist now.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I would think that, like, let's get into something that really plays up on that, because it's also what you like out of Beyond Two Souls, right? Is almost all the other content is kind of bullshit. Whenever it was really involved around her, it was really interesting. Like, I even like the scene where you tried to clean up your house before you got the guy over to try and fuck him. Like,
Yeah.
Like, that was almost a better part of the whole thing. Or her being homeless was a really good scene,
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, what if they did something where you took control of the killer and the detective, and you're playing different scenarios, and you're setting up the traps, and then when you finally get there, the trap's different than what you expected, even though you put it together yourself. Something changed when you're gone.
And it's something about, like, psychological trauma between, like, maybe, like, you're blacking out, or maybe, like, they start questioning whether you're the same person, and maybe you're not, and then, like, maybe he's playing games with you and you're an actual observer and you are a person. Like, play around with some really deep psychological, like, you're getting lost in psychosis.
Yes.
And these would be the guys to do that.
Yeah, they made likable characters out of fucking tropes from horror movies that you've seen a billion times before, and they just played it on its head, and you ended up caring about characters you didn't think you would.
So that's the last debate before we run out of time. It's just like, they played up on tropes with that one. That's why it worked. They were like, we know the horror tropes. It's going to be goofy in a sense, and it was in parts goofy, like ha ha ha, like, people go to a cabin to fuck, and an
awful thing happens.
They went 2 kilometers down the road. Obviously, the monster's going to come after them. Like, why the fuck did you go to the little cabin 2 kilometers down in the middle of a blizzard? But, like, switching them over to something hyper serious, maybe that would be where they would fail. Maybe they should stick to playing up on genres.
Tackle the true crime tropes. Love all that kind of stuff. Just detective noir stuff. Like, you could play on that, and people's expectations of it, you could flip it on its head, right? Like,
totally.
You can still do the story we're talking about, but, like,
you can still make it a little bit more, like, a little tongue-in-cheek.
Turn the CSI format on its head, that just fucking whoop. Yep. That'd be really cool.
Telescoping vision.
Supermassive, if you're listening, please do that. Or just continue making Until Dawn 2. I don't care what you guys do. I'll buy whatever you're making next.
Who knows what we're doing?
I hope we see what they're doing soon, actually, because,
How long ago was Until Dawn?
A couple years ago at this point, but they made that god-awful VR game, so I don't know what's next.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time they spent on that, how many people were working on it. Hard to say.
It was a while.
All right. Start the timer.
Starting timer.
Can Sony beat their 2 previous E3 showings this year?
I think they're going to, but I'm worried about this year.
I'm not worried about this year. I think it's going to be cool, but I do not think they beat the last 2 years. I think this year is the year that they start showing the shit that they showed the other 2 years. Because they were all announcements the other 2 years. So now I think they're going to finally start being like, here's a little more God of War. Here's a little more Days Gone. Here's a little more Last of Us 2. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's my thing, is that I'm like, what's left for them to be like,
what else could
you would never
announce?
expect this title, and they've done it twice, where you're like, what? But all the major titles are starting to have flooded in. So the Horizon's done, the Mass Effects are done, the fucking Zeldas are out, all of those huge things we were waiting for this generation to finally come to and come back to.
Last Guardian's out.
Last Guardian, you name it, all those things. Other than Final Fantasy VII Remake, if they show up with footage for Final Fantasy VII Remake, cool and amazing, and that would be part of it, but it's not the showstopper for us. So they come up with Last of Us footage, maybe.
Yeah, but it's already announced. It doesn't have that initial that punch of when they showed God of War for the first time.
They could match it almost if they did Final Fantasy Remake, Last of Us 2, God of War.
What else they got? Oh, Death Stranding.
If they had actual game content, not trailer video sequence shit, game content video.
Hideo Kojima walks out on stage holding Emma Stone's hand, and he's like, "This is who is in the game." Everyone starts cheering, and then he lifts an invisible curtain up, and it's actually Ron Perlman. It's like, whoosh! Puff of smoke.
Yeah. But that would make it an impressive showing. But I don't have any titles left where they're going to come back. If they come up and there's something like Chrono Break and Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah,
what is left for them to come up and be like, what?
They're even remastering the original Crash Bandicoot for all those people who want a new Crash Bandicoot or a Crash Bandicoot in general.
Met the demands. What demands are left?
Yeah, Chrono Break is the one, right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's stuff obviously personally for me where Devil May Cry 5 would be big, but it's not Final Fantasy VII Remake big. No. It's not showing The Last Guardian again big. It's not. Yeah, what do they have left? What do they have left in the tank?
So that's why I'm worried that they don't have anything next.
I think this year is honestly
and there
all stuff we know, and then maybe one thing.
There hasn't been that bubbling that's happened yet. This time last year, we had bubblings of things that might have come up at E3.
Oh,
where they're unknown game involving bearded Norse god man, and you're like, God of War maybe? And then you go to E3 and they're like, God of War, and you're like, what? There's no bubbling quite yet.
You know what? Sucker Punch, the guys who worked on Infamous, they have been working on something since PS4's launch.
I really hope it's not more Infamous.
I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's a new IP.
Yeah.
And Shuei Yoshida, the head of the PlayStation, or used to be, I forget what his title is now, said he's played it and he likes it. So it's in a playable form, and that was last E3. But it wasn't there at all. He just said, I've been to the studio and I played it, so.
Well, they do really good work.
That must be, that will be announced.
They could have Spider-Man.
Yeah, they could they could have actual gameplay of Spider-Man.
So
but again, we already know it's
the only way that they're going to impress us is coming in with actual gameplay footage of any of those games.
Every one of those games, I think.
One of those games.
That's what it has to be.
All of them there.
Have cool gameplay demos for all of them, and then end it with the announcement that Sucker Punch is making another Marvel game? I don't know.
No, because Mass Effect's out, Persona's out, fucking, all of the long-awaited titles where we're where is this? It's been 6 years. The only thing that doesn't have that out yet is Final Fantasy Remake.
Yeah.
We have Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah? We have Final Fantasy 15, everybody.
We have all of the games. We're another 4 years out from having any context to that. So
right now, they're just at Guerrilla Studios just being you model a fucking Stegosaurus, and we need to show a goddamn teaser for Horizon 2. I don't give a fuck if you're making DLC. Yeah. You make a Stegosaurus, just model a new dinosaur so it can walk by and then fade to black and be Horizon 2.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know. The thing is we've said this before though. We've been oh, what could they do?
Yeah, no, and they surprise us each time.
And then they show up and then just the title scrolls across, and you're I didn't even think of that game. Where did they come up with this shit?
Oh, fuck, yeah.
I hope they do it again.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited for Sony's E3 the most this year again, obviously. Yeah, I just...
But the pressure's on, and I don't think that they will be able to pull off a third year.
No, I really don't think they can. And we'll probably eat our words,
they will.
But, yeah.
They will. I know they will. There's going to be something... it makes me tingly inside thinking about what's going to scroll at the end of that whole thing. It's going to go through and you're going to be okay... And then something's going to happen.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be something, and then some director's going to walk down, and you're going to be what?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm getting excited for it now.
Oh.
Yeah, I just have no idea. Sucker Punch is the only thing I can think of that they're going to reveal. It's going to be like, boom, here it is. Yeah. All right.
And next up is...
Start the timer?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on developers seemingly feeling forced to incorporate the open world experience into every game?
Actually, this is applicable to the last few things we've been talking about.
Yes, it is. It's timely.
Yeah, so most recently, especially, we've had a lot of open world games we've been running through Final Fantasy 15 to Horizon Zero Dawn to me doing Mass Effect Andromeda, and I need a linear game now.
Like, yeah, I almost feel bad for you.
I'm excited for getting my hands on the Persona 5 after Mass Effect because I need something that has a good corridor.
Yes, yeah, just a hallway.
Just a hallway. Just like, you go here. I need that real bad.
That's the thing, and like, there's been so many games that are like, and
Zelda.
Here's the thing, yeah, Zelda, Metal Gear Solid 5 before that. Metal Gear Solid 5, I think, is again, that game had some troubled development because we know all this shit was happening to Hideo Kojima, and maybe that wasn't what he wanted. But that world was so bare, it may as well not have been open world. There's no point in me running between these giant things.
We talked about the brown, and the brown is
it might have and I get you want to tackle it from all angles. So you could just have a 50-meter radius outside that I can explore, and then I can tackle it from any way. That was a game where it seemed like this didn't need to be open world. No. But and I've enjoyed all these games like Final Fantasy and Horizon. But yeah, there is something to Final Fantasy's world where it's like, wow, I just wish there was something more here, something a little more secret, something a little more than just an herb or whatever else I need. I wanted, like I said to you, I think at some point where like I wanted to be in the desert and I wanted to there was like a hole in the ground where I stumble in. And it's like, oh, I'm finding a weird race of people who are worshipping the Jumbo Cactuar, and then I gotta go kill their god because it's a monster hunt, or something weird and fun that I can find in the world. It's not just here's healing herb times 2. I do feel like a lot of developers are just like, well, make it open world. Like that's the default thing to do. They did Ghost Recon, and people are enjoying that game. It's the best-selling game this year so far. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not.
This thing, I like open world. It's just easy to get burnt out on.
That's exactly it. Like I'm not against open worlds, and I don't think it's a trope that they should avoid because there's a lot of fun to be had in a really good open world. And when it's done beautifully, like Horizon, I wasn't like I got off of Final Fantasy 15 was like I want a corridor. Got into Horizon was like give me every open pathway you've got. I loved running around that world. And even Mass Effect, while not anything close to Horizon, I'm enjoying a lot of the open spaces I have been in. They're definitely not as pretty as anything else I've ever seen, but it's still enjoying getting, especially for Mass Effect in a place where we were on so many corridors. It's neat to not have them, even though the game plays better when you are, because all the loyalty missions are in corridors and they're way better. So it's like
one step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more I want to see developers tackle this open thing a little bit more interesting because Final Fantasy 15 promised us that with this it's not this open world, it's going to be condensed areas that you keep moving through and you'll load and pop into the next one. It was a fucking massive open world.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was this one giant area and then linear for the rest of the game. Yeah. Something we both really like is the Tomb Raider games, the new Tomb Raider games.
It's brilliant. That's a perfect way of doing it.
They're small open spaces where it's contained. You have an open world, you can go back and forth as you please, but it is still it's funneled enough that you feel like you're having a good experience, but it's open enough also you feel you have some freedom. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. If you're going to be making your open game, let's have an open corridor basically. Large, medium-sized spaces. Because I want to say large because when we say large, God knows what they turn into next.
Yeah, in terms of Skyrim.
Yeah, a really well crafted thing. Because that's the thing about the first Tomb Raider too, right? What I always found was ingenious about it was that game filtered you down a very specific path, but then suddenly you're going through and you're like, oh shit, this is the same area. How did you make me jump around this whole place and then come back halfway through the game to the same place that I looked over to from the beginning and didn't even realize I lapped back?
Yeah, no, it gave you a sense of freedom, and it made you feel like you were in this living space that was. I don't want to say it's as iconic as the Resident Evil 1 mansion or something, but it was a place you were intimate with, but it also was big.
I really the island. I felt like I went over a whole island, and it was a whole island that I could have walked around at any point, but I really was stuck to the corridors I had.
Yeah.
So I'm totally down with something more Tomb Raider-y if you're going to be doing your third-person adventure games.
For sure.
Give me some constraints because
we were both lamenting the fact that the Zelda creator or director originally was saying that Zelda is going to be open world from now on.
Yeah.
Like, because me and you both prefer the slightly more condensed Zeldas, and they're not like linear by any means. They're still pretty open.
You still rode Epona for like 5 minutes, you know. Like...
Yeah, across a field, it's, I would prefer like a Zelda, like a classic Zelda type style to it.
Yeah, for sure. I just guess open world. Just stop making it so big that really, in the end of the day, you can't physically, humanly possible assign enough of a team to make every area quite as cool. Horizon has pulled off something close, but nevertheless, a lot of those areas where you just going off to find another herb bush, you know, like let's mix it up some. Not everything has to be open world. Let's give us some other games that don't have to be.
I want to stumble across something that's not marked on the map, like say in Horizon, there's a secret cauldron that's not marked on the map because no one fucking knew about it. And it's it's in the ground, it's a giant tunnel or something, or it's up high, and you're like, holy fuck, how the fuck? I see something up there, but yeah, I don't know. So it's just I like being surprised and not just being like, fuck, another whatever.
Yeah, it's another space.
Okay, next question. Start the timer. What actor would you like to see lend their talent to a video game? And this could be any video game, any actor. I have a list.
You have a list?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? I've never thought about this.
Oh, I mean, just my favorite people that I want to see. Oh. Of course, I want to see them in things I like.
All right, so we know we want Jeff Goldblum.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ron Perlman.
Yes.
Yep. Fat guy from Roseanne.
John Goodman.
John Goodman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, John Goodman's still good in the game.
I'm out there.
Oh, okay, so I want Kelsey Grammer.
I
want David Hyde Pierce. The entire cast of Frasier, really.
I was going to say.
Yeah, let's look at the entire cast of Frasier in a game. And just never pay any reference to it. That'd be great. I also want Matthew McConaughey.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Hey. You want to fucking summon a persona with me? I know this is Japan, Senpai-kun. You just gotta chill and take it one day at a time.
Just forget that regiment.
Persona. Everyone always like, Persona! And he's like, Persona.
And just like this really lazy, like hippie kiss as a persona comes out.
Do you see what mine is? It's just a bunch of rippling abs.
Yeah.
It's just an entire monster made ab. It's just a cube. This is my representation. This is who I am. Anyways, yeah, Matthew McConaughey would be fucking great. Jeff Goldblum would be fantastic as any character, any game. I don't care who the fuck he's voicing. Great. Awesome. Would have.
And now with Jeff Goldblum, actually.
Yeah, so you can't say no to him.
Yeah. No, but I want Patrick Stewart.
Oh, yeah, that's a good choice.
Ian McKellen.
Sure. You should make an X-Men game.
Yeah. No, but I'm actually picking him for like a whole bunch of different stuff. Like I want Ian McKellen to play like a wizard and something just because he was great as Gandalf. God, who else would I... Oh, Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, yeah.
Sigourney Weaver's voice. Like, in Finding Nemo, when it came up as just like the audio recording of Sigourney Weaver going, I'm Sigourney Weaver. Welcome to the aquarium. I was like,
In case this is your first podcast, Mike is, I think, the world's biggest Sigourney Weaver fan.
I am.
I love Sigourney Weaver, but I don't know how to handle his fandom.
I've watched everything she's in, including her new monster movie there, which was really good. The one about the kid with the imagination, and he makes up an imaginary monster that like fights all his bullies and stuff.
I believe you that this is a thing that exists.
It's quite good.
No,
yeah, so it's definitely Sigourney Weaver.
Mads Mikkelsen, but he's already appeared.
That's the thing. I'm trying to like Mads Mikkelsen I would want, but he's already in Death Stranding, so I didn't bring him up. I'm trying to think of someone else who really strikes across, but female. I want another female in there.
She's already been in a video game, but I really like not Kristen Ritter, Kristen Bell.
Oh,
she was in Assassin's Creed.
Was she?
Yeah, she's some character in that.
You really? Kristen Bell was in that? It was a good one though. I would love Kristen Wiig.
Oh yeah, she'd be good. She'd be good.
It should be really good.
Yeah, she could be a good like fucking funny character.
Yeah,
she'd really work.
Oh, she'd be really good. That should be great. And actually, leading right off of that or two right away is fucking Leslie Knope.
Amy Poehler.
Amy Poehler and Tina Fey.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see John Hamm do anything. John Hamm is one of my favorite actors. Also, yeah, you know what? Just the entire cast of Breaking Bad. I love all the Breaking Bad actors. Cranston?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Cranston.
Brian Cranston.
Aaron Paul is also fucking awesome. I think he'd do a really good job.
After hearing him in fucking Kingsglaive, no thanks.
Oh, Aaron. We love you.
No.
I love that dude.
I think she's done games, but the girl who plays Cersei's in Game of Thrones.
I don't know.
Fuck. She's the queen in Game of Thrones. Like the fucking fuck.
Margot Robbie.
No, get her out of everything.
What? Margot Robbie's great.
No, I'm just kidding. She's fine. Yeah, I think that's really kind of the ones I would really, really want.
Those are my tops. Those are the ones that immediately come to mind.
I mean, Sigourney Weaver, just like I want her to do all things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want her to be like the voice of an AI that just constantly rhymes in with like, "Oh God, she should do the next Portal and be the voice of."
She's GLaDOS.
GLaDOS. That'd be so good.
Even in a Mass Effect game, Sigourney Weaver was the
AI
AI
she was like
ship
a
or something.
Smack talking AI.
Yeah, that'd be really
like,
good.
Replace Sam right now.
But she's also like the doctor on the ship and also the protagonist.
Yeah, she's just everything. I would enjoy that game.
Jeff Goldblum is the son. Hello, I'm hating you all, and it's pretty fantastic.
Must go faster.
And we're spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. He just does that forever.
One of my favorite joke that my cousin made once, because like in like 2 or 3 movies, Jeff Goldblum does the "must go faster" line. He does it in Jurassic Park and a bunch of others. But we were watching The Fly, and me and him always made a joke whenever we would make the joke about Jeff Goldblum. We'd always be like, "Yeah, so must go faster, must go faster." And we were watching The Fly, and that's when he starts. He's like he's gonna have sex with his wife there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's about to climb on, like my cousin just goes, "Yeah, so must go faster, must go faster." It cracks me up every time I watch The Fly now. I'm just like, oh.
Okay, next question. Start that timeroo.
Timeroo started.
What superhero best lends themselves to a video game but hasn't had one made yet? This comes back to a conversation we've had before. Immediately comes to mind is Daredevil. I don't actually know if we talked about it on air, but I think, especially after seeing that game, the Perception, the horror game about tapping and stuff, wouldn't it be a cool mechanic if you had to be constantly moving and fighting and it was just fast-paced ninja action, and every time you were hitting the ground, that was your sight. So every time he's flipping, so you need to, it's the game keeping you in rhythm of, you gotta keep fucking moving or you're dead, you know? All these people are coming at you. It would be
too arty for a Marvel game to ever try and do something like that.
You're not wrong.
They would totally just be like, and you press this button for super sense, and they would just be like,
yeah, you'd just be able to see.
Yeah.
Be like, no blindness.
No.
But I think that could be really, really cool. Yeah. Like, just, it would be like Bayonetta where you have an incentive to keep up the quick pace.
It would actually be cool if you had that exact first-person thing, but kind of applied a Dishonored fighting system to it.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be kind of neat. Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, Daredevil has so much potential. They'll never do it because it's...
They won't do that, but yeah.
But, like, if that in that context, yeah, Daredevil totally... what about another superhero that would be really cool in that context?
I think
I've always wanted to have Green Lantern.
I was just going to say Green Lantern would be cool, but I just don't know how you...
I've never solved it.
Do it, you know? You can't use anyone's imagination to...
as you can tell, like... I'm pretty good with like whipping out the solution ideas for games all the time because I spend a lot of time thinking about how to fix games. I have sat and tried to figure out how to make infinite imagination objects appear.
Like, aside from you have a Green Lantern and you're customizing his stuff so you can have, you know, the Y button and X button turns into this combo and it's a fist and a knife and a jet or what, you know, whatever you want. And it's like, you can customize it. Oh, but it would be pre-made things. It's not like you could be like, I want him to fucking suffocate that man in a pizza. Like, you know, like it's never gonna happen. But Matt, Green Lantern could be cool.
You'd be a very good Green Lantern because that would be your attack. Suffocate them with a pizza.
Yeah.
Like everyone else's solution, like during Green Lantern training, they're like, okay, so you need to like somehow smother this guy, and someone's like, put them in a glass of water.
The Earth one's that's just 50 raccoons, and it's this green raccoon. It's just like, just biting this man.
That's not the goal. That's not the goal.
I'm winning. Look, Green Lantern could be a cool game. Let's take it away from the combat for a second, though. But apply a Mass Effect type, you know, choice and options and dialogue. There's so many different races. Me and you are always saying that you could make a fucking whole movie universe out of just Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Do a Mass Effect, but Green Lantern. Your choices have consequences, and make it this epic like space saga.
The world plays itself. Like it would just be Mass Effect, but you fly through space on yourself instead of a machine.
Yeah.
You know, like totally. Yeah. So that's the thing about Green Lantern is that the game itself, like as a whole, builds itself. But the mechanics of your interactions with it, because like every time you do something and interact with the world, you'd have to be able to make your own constructs and stuff like that, right? And I mean, maybe there is a system where like you could have it in the non-combat sense, where you'd be standing there and then you could scroll through different constructs that you could make like through a list and like use them.
Being able to customize, like having a good combat system where you customize like what comes out of them and stuff, the ring, and
But there was one that did it sort of right. It was DC Universe Online. They did do a patch for the Emerald Knights, and you could get the Green Lantern stuff. And every attack you did with them had a chain combo. So like if you attacked with chainsaw, you could chain off of that and one of 3 different constructs, and then that construct could chain into other 3 constructs. So it was just these combos that chain through all these constructs, and every time you did it, it felt a little bit different. But again, there's only so many combinations you're going to be able to make.
No, exactly, yeah.
And it's just eventually not, it would just be a hack and slasher, so I really don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard one to tackle.
But yeah, I mean, Daredevil's a good one, Green Lantern's a good one. I mean, really for like solo characters...
I'm trying to think. I mean, I would obviously love a Venom game, although Prototype was basically that and it was shitty.
Yeah.
I think you could do a good one, but that would be really nice.
I mean,
what's a Ghost Rider game look like? Is there something cool you can do with the motorcycle where you're
really like to see more superheroes
fighting on the bike and?
But that's the thing. I would like to see a superhero game where they go for the characters that have the more abstract powers.
Yeah.
Right. Because like every other time, it's been tackled in some fashion in another game, and it would just be another hack and slasher. Right. So everything's kind of been like a Spider-Man or a Superman or something that just can punch. And fly. Right. But. Like, could we do something?
I like our solutions to Daredevil and Green Lantern, though. I feel like that could be a unique thing.
But could we do something with the Flash where you could actually make some sort of really cool hyperspeed, system,
where it's not about punching, but he's using his speed to take out enemies. I feel like again that's such a specialized game that like, well, you're not hitting bad guys all the time. Well, maybe we shouldn't do this. You're right, it's too arty. We're getting too esoteric.
But I'm thinking
probably
like Super Hot. You know, like that
yeah.
Where like they had a bullet coming by, but then you could like knock someone's gun in the air and then like shoot that gun and it would fling and hit another guy because everything's just kind of moving slowly. While you're holding it, like a system like that would be really neat, where you could try and influence stuff in a certain amount of time while you're like maintaining your metabolism at a certain height.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to see stuff tackling powers that are really hard to try and accomplish.
You're right. Not just
the ones that can punch.
Yeah.
You know, this feels like the Marvel Netflix syndrome where they're like, we just do the ones who are super strong.
Yeah.
And you're like, great.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. There's no graphics to that. They just punch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, because, and again, this Daredevil one and the Flash one never get made. Green Lantern could get made with our pitch. Yeah,
I think so.
All right.
Next up is...
You'll have a better... Probably answer for me.
Like you're going to have a better answer than me, I'm dumb?
Like, no, not dumb. I just don't have the breadth of knowledge you do.
Yeah.
Start the timer.
Mm-hmm.
Best anime art style.
Oh. Okay.
Most of the animes that I am familiar with, I don't want to say they look the same, but they're all pretty samey to me. Like I like Dragon Ball's art style; it's kind of unique. I would say Soul Eater for me.
That's a good one. That's a really fucking good one. Well, let's just say as a mutual one that you and I can probably both agree on. That's a really cool art style. Is the Attack on Titan one.
Yeah, Attack on Titan is really good.
The thick line thing is really interesting.
Yeah,
it looks really cool. Like when I put it up, everyone's like, "Oh, that looks really neat." It does really pop and stand out.
There's a weird texture to that world, It's very it grabs you.
One of my favorites personally is the Furikuri Kill la Kill art style.
Oh yeah.
A really wiry, complete loss of form and shape, exaggeration. Where when any action scene happens, their legs are 6 feet long.
Yeah, super deformation.
Yeah, super deformation. I like that stuff a lot when it's done really well. It's done in other animes where it's super shitty, but the ones that do it well are the ones that become these super iconic, like Kill la Kill and Furikuri. They're the ones that you're like, oh my god, I saw those before.
You know what anime style I really like? You might laugh at me. In the Digimon movie.
Oh no, I love the Digimon movie animation. That was amazing.
It was cool because they kind of just... That movie's fucked because it's not they just put 3 short films in a movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't
And none of it really made any sense. In the English translation, they don't even say anything to do with anything. They're just running and going, he peed or something. And then you're like, what? What's this?
Yeah, it was such a weird movie because you expected it to be oh, it's a Digimon movie. I'm going to see the kids I know on TV on the big screen in some grand adventure. And it's here's 3 short films about Agumon.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess. The one had kind of the anime art style, but 2 of them had this really nice, thin line, almost I don't want to say a sketch, but really nice, art style. It was lanky.
Yeah. I loved the second one where they had that fight scene between the little bunny-eared one and then his brother that was the big kind of monkey goofy one. And they had that fight in the city. that animation for that fight scene in itself and that whole look with the angles and you're right, that thin line that really made a really interesting construction. That was a great style.
It was a great. Thank you. I'm so happy that you agree with me because I thought you were gonna be like Digimon.
No, I thought you were gonna do like the show, and I'm like, what? Still frames?
Yeah.
Like,
no. You know what I really didn't like about the movie was I think it was the second one or whatever it was. It was when War Greymon and the Metal Garurumon were going into the internet to fight the virus. Everything's getting super serious, and he's about to fucking kill him, and like they're about to go at it, and then all of a sudden, like this shitty butt rock comes on. It's like, I'm going digital, completely digital, and I was like, this ruins the tone of the movie. It's completely digital. And he's just wrecking through him. I was like, he's gonna win as soon as that happens. Yeah. I wanted the tension to. I like
the color palette for that whole thing though.
It was great.
Pastels.
Yeah, it was really muted and like nice.
Yeah, it looked digital.
That was a lovely art style. Yeah,
it looked really good.
Super grabbing. I did not expect it to go here.
Lots of really neat harsh lines too. For like anything that was flowing, they usually did like a cut corner rather than a smooth transition.
Yeah.
So it made this really neat whipping effect whenever stuff moved. It was really cool.
It was well animated for a Digimon movie. You wouldn't expect it.
It was definitely a very good one. I really like the art style, which is definitely far more typical, but it was really good just because, again, I've said this before in another anime podcast we've done, is Fate Stay Night's Unlimited Blade Works. The fights animation and the style of it, it's one of those more realistic ones. But the artists in it, when they did the character designs, really mastered how to create, because like most animated stuff, they leave so much to not being able to sell dimension when a head turns. They did such a good job of trying to like get to that North American humanization of it. And then the fight sequences together, there's such dimension to them moving. Like when a punch goes by, it feels like the fist has depth and dimension and size.
And weight.
And then when the fight happens and the soundtrack goes with it and it's so well drawn and so well animated, I was just like really pumped up in the fights. That's a really good one because there's no deformation in any of the animations unless it's in a high point of action, so it feels kind of stiff but real. It was very cool. I like that one a
lot. I kind of like not all of it, but there is a certain 80s like anime art style that I really enjoy. Not all of it for sure. I think a lot of it's kind of ugly, but like Akira is obviously great, but I'm struggling to think of a name. I mean, I like Ninja Scroll, but.
Well, while you're thinking really quickly, since we only got 18 seconds, did you ever watch the original Hunter series, not the new?
Yes.
Yeah. There was a point once they got to the Hunter test that an animator took over, and the fight with Hisoka and Gon, and then also like Gon's first fight with Hanzo. That animator, whoever they got to do that whole section all the way up until the spider arc, I love that.
It's neat going because I didn't watch that until I was already obsessed with Hunter from the new series, and I went back and I was like impressed at like how good some of the animation was. Well, I think some of the new style tackled some of the stuff better, but I think there are definitely superior parts about the old one.
Yeah, for sure. There was a couple of moments in that anime for like scenes where I really felt they communicated the strength of the hunters like Gon and Killua. There's one that really got me that when it was like, oh fuck yeah. Was when the spiders when they're tracking the spiders, right? One, they communicated that scene of tracking them with so much more tension, where I was like, "Don't let them fucking find you; they're gonna kill you." But when they get caught inside of either of the two rooms, right? Yeah. And they jump up and they catch them on either side. Killua bounces around the room all fast, right? And then the guy catches him, and in that moment, Killua puts his hands into the ground and like the rock crumbled beneath it. Yeah. The amount of tension in his muscles they drew in and the way they drew it when he tried to pull away and it ripped his actual tendons around his legs when he pulled away communicated so much power. Like the guy was like couldn't let go and Killua just literally forced the ground out underneath him.
I have to watch this. I can't like remember in the detail you are. Fuck, I
just remember that scene so much because it communicated that like he's not as strong as these guys. They're fucking insane, but there's so much power behind this kid. And when he backed off and he like let out the whistle, he's like, woo, you know. That was so much better done in that version because in the current version it doesn't communicate that Killua has that kind of strength. And in the old version, just visually they did it.
Hunter's so good. It's so good at everything.
It's so good at everything.
All right. Next question. Cue up the timer. What game did you love back in the day? Went back to, and it was terrible.
I still don't know.
Ruined memories. All right. So. There's definitely stuff. Sometimes I go back home and I'll plug stuff in. And I said this to you earlier. It was the
Which, like, it was an N64 game, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it was. It was. Oh, there's. I thought I deleted all our questions. Perfect Dark.
Actually,
it doesn't. It's like blurry and shitty, and like I know it's not like HD or anything, but like, and it just doesn't feel good. And like, obviously, first-person shooters weren't like perfected back at that point. You know, even GoldenEye isn't good. But like,
well, that's the thing. Like, I'm wondering if this question is like going back and playing it, and you like the technical aspect of it does ruin it, because that's like. For me, the answer is classic N64 games, because like I had the best time.
Ocarina of Time still is probably okay when you play it though.
Yeah, it's a little harder now, just.
I'm sure it is, but like it holds up better than Perfect Dark.
Yeah, or GoldenEye, which was really hard to play.
But even playing Ocarina of Time, which is just up-res version, right? Like you can play that on 3DS and it's nice and people enjoy it. Like whereas if you played fucking Perfect Dark now, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah. But Perfect Dark's a really good example of it, because it's one of those ones that at the time really did get through. Like it was like, oh, this is so current gen, and it's not just the fact that it's no longer current gen. It doesn't feel the same going back and playing it.
No,
because I don't feel that's fair to say for going back and saying, oh, I can't play GoldenEye, because I mean it was actually a shitty game at the time. It was just a fluke that turned into the magic that it was. And going back and playing it and saying it doesn't have the same experience, it's just like, well, that's only because it's just really low grade in comparison to my experience now. It's not actually a bad game. If I hadn't played, 2018 games, I wouldn't be saying that.
No, oh yeah, I mean that era just doesn't hold up well. Though.
No,
as a whole, I think.
My list goes through with like Banjo-Kazooie is the same thing. Even Mario 64 doesn't hold up. Like all of those, going back and trying to replay those, I can't do it. But like I can do it for other classic games that still hold up, and like Chrono Trigger, I can go back and replay as many times as I want, and the experience is still beautiful.
Oh yeah, I mean if you go back to Super Metroid, it's infinitely playable still today. Yeah, it's that first early 3D era is where you get like the most like, oh, this isn't as good as I fucking remember it.
Or the original Crash.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure the original Resident Evil is real shitty compared to that nice remake we got on the PS4.
Oh, I couldn't play
the GameCube remake.
Yeah, I couldn't play any of those.
Yeah.
I tried going back and replaying a few of the classics, and not a chance.
I'm sure it feels shitty, yeah.
But again, it's just all based on the fact that the technology wasn't there, and I don't know if that's fair to say, like, I can't go back and play them if it's just because of the technology. If that's the case, it's just, like, early 3D gen.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that, like, I thought was really good, but actually was terrible, and I'm sure there's something. Like, that's the thing. I just can't think of the, like moment. Like this thing when I was young, I played the best things on the system. I got Mario with Super Nintendo and Super Metroid. I didn't get like fucking
Geist,
Frantic Ant, whatever that game was.
Yeah, or Geist. That was one of the N64 games I regretted playing.
No, Geist was GameCube.
GameCube.
Yeah, you were a ghost and you could possess a dog food.
Yeah.
Prey's kind of doing that now.
That's the thing. It's like the same thing. When I saw that, I was like, this is like Geist and BioShock in space.
Geistoshock.
Well, I mean, I can't. What about like? Oh, you know what? There's a good one. There was a Secret of Mana game on the Super Nintendo that I went back and played, and it was 2D, and it didn't work well. And it wasn't. It was one of the ones that was like that faux isometric.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I can't remember. It was like 3 or 2. But the characters, they just randomly kept showing up and joining your team, and I couldn't figure out there was no story to it. I'm like, why is this girl with a spear here? Why is like this little fairy girl with a spear? Like, what's going on? I can't go back and play that for the life of me. Legend of Mana is another one that I'd still love playing, but the game itself isn't as good as I remember it. Legend of Mana on the PlayStation 1.
No, it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's a good one here. Sonic Adventure.
Ooh.
I liked Sonic Adventure a lot when it first came out,
and
then when I went back a couple of years later, I was like, "Oh, this doesn't feel good." Like this is not. I think at the time I was probably just excited that Sonic was in 3D and you're moving fast and like there's a whale chasing you. Holy shit! Look at fucking Free Willy. Like
thinking of Dreamcast games is the same thing. When I got the Dreamcast and we played those the first time, I thought they were amazing because there was what was it called?
Blue Stinger. That's a game.
God no, but there was a lot of the early Dreamcast games. But Power Stone was one. Power Stone 1. I thought when I played that the first time in the arcade, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I got it on the Dreamcast, and I was like, "What the fuck is like? This isn't cool.
This is no good.
This is no good." But the thing is, I've also just recently replayed it. I have a friend who has a literal arcade in his basement where he's turned all his machines into arcade machines that use like the Xbox Live Arcade to just turn on and become an actual machine with the joysticks and everything. Mm-hmm. So you get access to all the old arcade machine games, but on arcades. And he's got like 7 machines. And you had Power Stone on it. And it was strangely fun again all of a sudden. So I don't know if that counts.
Playing games with other people is always fun. Yeah. It doesn't really matter what it is, right?
It's true.
All right, time to bum everyone out. Cue up. Cue it up.
Queued up.
What will be the next No Man's Sky? I.e., a game with hype through the roof that disappoints everybody. I cannot see a No Man's Sky situation happening again anytime soon. Mass Effect is not it's not anywhere near that, but it is a AAA game that a lot of people are disappointed with. Not nearly on the level of fucking No Man's Sky.
No, God, not a chance.
I'm trying to think of something big that could really disappoint people, like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
So those are my two. One is that like Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out and it turns out to be a massive disappointment to everyone. That one has the most pressure on it to fail. I haven't seen anything that says it will, though, but then again, I didn't see anything in No Man's Sky that said it was going to fail. But the more I saw of No Man's Sky, the less excited I got. But the more little trickles I get of anything of Final Fantasy, I get more excited. So I don't know if it's going to quite be that. But that has the potential to do it.
That's the thing. I think the levels of disappointment, even if it's not as bad as No Man's Sky, I think it could disappoint people on that level.
Oh, yeah. Final Fantasy Remake is very easily...
Fervor is high for that game.
At that risk.
People are already, fucking sweating bullets over the fact that they're even remaking it, and they're like,
and they're already upset that it's not just a turn-based RPG, just an up-res version. Like, is that what they should have done all along? But the thing is No Man's Sky failed because they promised us a lot of stuff that was like never done before, and it didn't comply, and that didn't do anything. Yeah. So Final Fantasy VII isn't promising us anything.
It's just a bunch of broken promises more than
because like Final Fantasy Remake is not a broken promise. They didn't promise us that they were going to give us the exact same game experience just up-res. They were like, no, we're changing this and they're being very upfront, right? So I don't think that's the case. One that could break its promises is the God of War game.
Ooh, in what way do you think?
Well, that demo showed me something that I have been craving in video games my life since the very beginning. This real free-form option of, like, if I throw someone against the wall, I can punch them in the head or punch them in the stomach, and then if they took a swing at me, I had to block that, and then it looked like a video sequence fight, but you were controlling every punch, every swing, every block, every axe, right? Mm-hmm. It looked like a video sequence that I was playing. Yeah. And I've never seen that in a game accomplished, honestly, ever. And if those two monsters weren't, somehow set up to perfectly let him pull that off, and that's how everything happens in that game. If you're going to make it where I'm going to be in this open world game with God of War where I'm going to literally be able to just act like a human, my disappointment level is going to be pretty high. And that's the other thing too, is they're promising this very large new engine of a game, and if it doesn't run through on that, that's going to be very, very disappointing. So there's some promises there that could not be complied to.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's definitely one that could fall. Really, that's about it.
Okay, all the other big ones, like Death Stranding could turn out to be a fucking radio game where it's played over a fucking walkie-talkie or something.
People are still going to be like, it's art!
Yeah.
So
it's the best thing ever made.
There's no promises made. He's just basically shown you video.
Yeah, exactly. So, we have nothing so far. It can't really be a disappointment yet.
Anything else that really has that kind of strain on its back to be really amazing? I can't say.
No, I can't. What's the thing next to the thing people are anticipating? That's the thing.
We're running out of that list. That's the other thing. That's weird. We're starting to come to the end of the list of the repeat.
I mean, there are games coming out this year like Shadow of Mordor 2 and fucking the next Call of Duty and shit and Destiny 2. But if those games are bad, people will just move on with their lives.
Destiny 2 is a good one. Destiny 2 could totally pull a full No Man's Sky. That's exactly the one.
You think so?
Oh yeah, totally. That would be my 100% call.
I don't know how hyped people are on, or I don't know.
The hype train isn't as big. I agree, but there is easily for them to break all their promises. Where they're every person you ever bring Destiny up to, everyone's played Destiny and been oh, they didn't comply on the story and on the weapons and the armors are stupid and blah 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 blah.
We promised we'll have a real story this time. Yeah, it's still on trading cards.
That's the thing. If Destiny 2 currently just looks like Destiny Expansion 4 instead of Destiny 2, and they promised us a whole new game. Destiny 2 should be a new game. if it's literally just Destiny expansion game 2, you know how many pissed off people will be for asking for refunds saying you didn't give me a new game. They'll pull a full No Man's Sky.
That's probably true.
Yeah. So it's Destiny 2. Yeah.
All right.
We still have 20 seconds left on this one.
Oh. Nathan Fillion is a good voice actor.
He is a good voice actor.
You see him as that robot?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. See, some people were like upset. They were all like, they're like, "What does this turn into fucking Borderlands?" And I was like, "No, it made me laugh. It was not Borderlands."
And then they gave you the contrast of giving the other generals. So,
yeah,
like
it was not Borderlandsy at all. Borderlands would have been like a meme about Harambe and then like a fucking dick joke or something. Like, just terrible. I fucking hate Borderlands humor.
I do too.
It's just god awful.
I
enjoy the game. To be if you don't know me, I love the actual game. Borderlands 2 had a lot of fun playing with my roommate. We basically played it on mute because we could not stand any of the characters talking.
And as you all know from me, I could give two shits less and think it's a horrible game. And I don't care what you think because it is a bad game. I'm just kidding.
It's fun.
Next up is what?
Sorry, 1 second. I'm just sorting the list here.
So unprofessional. You're not prepared.
We're running a little long, so I just want to... I'm trimming the list, bitch! All right.
You don't need to trim the list.
Yes, I do. Start the timer.
Started.
With the positive reception to the announcement of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, what PS1 or PS2 game series would you personally love to see remade and possibly turned into a brand new series?
A brand... What? Sorry?
No, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
I just wrote down what they said. Like, just reinvigorated. What do you want to see Final Fantasy remaked? What do you want to see FF7 remaked?
Xenogears.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Jade Cocoon.
No, yes, Xenogears for sure.
You know what? No, let's give Jade Cocoon a fair shot here. That would be cool, kind of.
No.
Yeah, I think it'd be okay.
You gotta leave that game alone, man. We hashed on it pretty hard.
Oh yeah, but no, I mean, it could be cool.
One Redditor came up with Jade Cocoon, and you've been harshing on him ever since.
Yeah, because again, it would suck to be a fan of Jade Cocoon.
Yes. No, for me...
It said PS1 or PS2 series, like, specifically.
Yeah.
What about the bouncer? No, there's nothing to the bouncer.
I want, Xenogears. I want Legend of Dragoon. I want... Or would they have to say remastered, or that's not sequel, it's remastered?
No, it's not remastered. No, remastered is just high res.
Or remake, I mean.
Yeah, like Final Fantasy... what they're doing to Final Fantasy VII Remake, like, they're just making they're revamping it. They're just giving it a whole new blah. Like...
Well, yeah, it's actually, I'll apply the same, too. Because, like, I do want a whole new blah to Xenogears.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go back to whatever Xenosaga was. I want Xenogears.
Yeah.
And I just want to see it again in better, and I want to see a new system, and I want to see what they could do with it. So Xenogears for sure is definitely like my number one on that list. And Legend of Dragoon still applies. Like even if they just redid Legend of Dragoon to relaunch the series again and made it into this remake, then yeah, totally. You got one on your list that's real, not.
Parasite Eve.
Yeah.
We talk about Parasite Eve a lot on this podcast, but Parasite Eve done like right with third-person shooter mechanics, but also utilizing the parasite fuck, whatever it's called.
The parasite fuck? Where it fucks?
Yeah. What's it called again?
What?
The magic.
Oh, mitochondria?
Yes. Using that shit. Like real time, like third person, as your Aya Bria. I remember her name, not the fucking magic name. That could be really cool. Like I think that could be really dope this day and age.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean,
like the first game again, but like fully realized into this level of graphics and era. Like,
oh yeah, it'd be very cool. Plus, they could totally expand because like you could tell with that first sequence with the rat, they were like, we want to do grotesque monsters, and they're like, we ran out of time and budget to make grotesque sequences.
Yes.
So like after that, you're like, nothing else is quite as shocking. And, like your biggest shocking thing was finding a turkey baster in an elevator, where she impregnated herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, more scenes like that, and, like, the cool scene of them all igniting on fire while she's saying and all that shit. Like, really getting into the nitty-gritty of, like, exploring all of that would be
I think that combat system could be really cool. Just, Resident Evil 4 type, vibe, over the shoulder.
A little bit like Mass Effect, actually, the current one, right? Like, a little bit more, she has a bit more maneuverability, her powers are actually in there. I don't even remember what her abilities were. The only one I remember is that in the game, you get a gun that fired off 36 rounds every shot, and every shot fired off every single effect in an AoE.
Hell yeah!
And then it just did that, and everything died. And then if it didn't, then you had her final ability, which turned her into like an Eve kind of character, and then she just did like a fucking Cloud Omni Slash.
Omni Slash.
That's all I remember from that. God, I can't say. You know, like what I would like a remastered, like Mega Man Legends, and then turn it into like a full.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, that would be great.
Like literally Mega Man Legends, because I like the story of Mega Man Legends.
Yeah.
But I fucking loved Mega Man Legends.
Yeah. No, update that with new gameplay systems and stuff, and that's a fucking dope.
And even full
game.
like augmentation, like every time because you could build all the pieces, and it would actually change some stuff.
And that art style on current gen would look just.
Oh yeah.
Mwah!
Yeah.
Wow, that would look so nice.
Mwah!
It would almost look like not Wind Waker, but like imagine just that like smooth, like high res fucking look.
Yeah, or even we don't really have a huge fan base for personally for not Wind Waker, fucking the new Zelda.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, but like something like along those lines.
Yeah, that could totally work.
Or the new Mario, you know.
Yeah.
Mario Odyssey, like that, something kind of stuff. Yeah, totally for Mega Man Legends. Plus, I'd like to see more Mega Man again.
Yeah. Because I don't know what Capcom's doing.
I don't know. They're just like, well, we let the guy who made it go, and he went off and tried to make his ripoff.
Yeah, and then we're just gonna fuck his character into the ground, I guess. Yeah. They just premiered that new show, Mega Man show, where he looks really ugly. Like the design is terrible. Like,
no,
I don't know. That's what they're trying to do with it right now, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah. So Mega Man, Xenogears, Legend of Dragoon.
Make another Mega Man X game.
Yeah. Ooh, Mega Man X itself.
Yeah, just do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cue it up.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want Final Fantasy to go from here?
Like the series?
Yes. 16. 17. 18.
Yeah.
19.
Where
20.
do they go from here? I mean, I know what they correct in Final Fantasy 15, right? Is like, let's get the story not bouncing between 7 different things. We've gone over this, right?
That's the thing. I think that, I mean, 15 was a jumbled development, obviously. Mm-hmm. It used to be versus 13. Hopefully next time they learn from their lessons, and I'm not as worried about the story stuff. I think that'll be handled better just because it won't be a mishmash of like, we're just throwing scenes in, and here's a movie of it, and like all this shit. We're not going to have that the next time.
I don't think so either.
I really doubt it. I think the story will be a lot more coherent. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, like you were saying, I forget now, we've done 3 podcasts tonight, but you mentioned at some point that about something. Fuck! It just like left my head.
But for me, the thing about Final Fantasy, where like the story and stuff is fine. The combat was great, but they're
gonna switch up the combat. It's always different every game, you know.
Like,
they're not gonna like.
That's fine. I want them to switch the combat up a bit. I don't want to have a person who has teleporting weapons again. Like I don't think they're gonna do that. But I want my mysticism in Final Fantasy back. 3 spells was not enough. I want magic back. I want Holy and Faraga, and like you had those things in there, but kind of not really great. Like Holy was a dodge.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Death was the only cool spell from your ring, and Ultima was neat, but it was just an instant kill for everything and suck your mana dry, but it doesn't work on anything that matters. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, I want my magic back for sure. But basically what I'm seeing out of Final Fantasy Remake, I would like them to tone that into the next Final Fantasy franchise. Mm-hmm. You know, because live action is the way it's going to go. We're never going to go back to turn-based. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're not going to make Final Fantasy 10-3 turn-based, you know, if they ever make that, you know, like it's not.
Like, sorry, the 3D turn-based thing is not going to happen. Like, you can look for that inside of their smaller, more indie stuff. That's just the universe of it. But for like what I'm looking for, I want to go back to the fantasy. I want to get away from the tech, like Final Fantasy 13 and all the other stuff. Just like get away from the tech. Let's go back to our 9s and our 7s and even our 8 was still a little techy. Yeah. But yeah, our 4s.
I like 8's World a lot though. That fucking weird yellow thing that ran Belem Garden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, why? That was weird.
Yeah. There was some weird fucking shit in that game.
Yes, there's a lot of odd shit in 7. 7 seemed like it played it so straight for so long, and they're like, actually, this world's wacky as fuck. Like,
7 or 8.
Or 8, sorry.
8, yeah. 8 was where they were like, actually, everything's wacky as fuck. Yeah,
it was like super, it was super straight, and then all of a sudden, like, no, this giant yellow fat thing runs the world. Enjoy. I would love a twist like that. But yeah, I would love, again, my favorite's 9. Maybe not full 9, like that kind of thing. Maybe a little more technology than that, but like, take it back a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, but that's all just small improvements. Like, what I want to see in the future of Final Fantasy in itself is just changes on what they've done. So, I loved the Brotherhood that they made in Final Fantasy 15, but I still want more characters again.
Mm-hmm.
I want my wacky characters, not
yeah. I want to be able to like.
I want like my Queenas and my. Fucking...
I could always have only three people with me, but like let me switch them out. You know,
let
me bond with fucking whoever Riku.
And my crazy character designs back. Like even 410, they were all human, but like Lulu's dress was iconic. Yeah. That straps in the front and everything like that was an amazing design.
Belts on fur.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whack-his dumbass hair.
Those things that really make your like only happens with ridiculousness in Final Fantasy, and it, like all of Final Fantasy 15 characters where is just like they're fine. There's nothing wrong with their designs, but I didn't really attach to anything special to them. That is what I want to see of the future of Final Fantasy. Is let's get into the crazy fantasy we used to have.
Yes.
Zidane and his tail, Quina and her craziness. Final Fantasy 7 with like a tiger is one of your characters, and
Kate Sith.
Yeah, Kate Sith, a guy whose arm is a gun.
Yeah.
Like let's get into those ridiculous characters.
It doesn't have to be as serious as they're playing it now.
Yeah. It's like Final Fantasy 13, which was a fail of a game. Like again, they were all just human character designs wearing anime clothing. It was just anime characters.
Yeah.
Like and the same thing for 15 and all of that. Like let's get into our like Vivi. One of the greatest character designs ever. Let's get to that.
They just took that little black mage sprite and made it a character, and it works so well.
It works so well.
Give me black waltzes again. I don't even care if you reuse the concept.
Yeah. Like,
can you imagine black waltzes flying around an openish world game? Like, we were complaining with the open worldness of it a little bit, right, before, and maybe take the Tomb Raider route of tighter.
Yeah, maybe
a little bigger than that.
Yeah, bigger than that, but I'd tighten it up. I don't want these giant spaces as big as we got in 15. Like, just tighten it up a bit.
Yes, I agree. And last question for 5 Minute Warning. What already existing franchise would you like to see Hideo Kojima take a stab at?
Xenogears.
Parasite Eve.
Those are both good.
Those are both good answers, though.
Yeah.
You would really.
Those are both cerebral games, but Parasite Eve would be amazing.
Yeah, totally. Parasite Eve is like the next step down from Silent Hill, where you could be like, okay, maybe you could do that.
Yeah, for sure. You would be amazing at it. Actually, well, would he make it too like heady? Like it works perfect with like
probably.
The whole relationship between him and Eve, and then like I'm your clone, and then I'm your mother, and then another thing.
Yeah, and there'd probably be a shower scene where there's all this fucking crazy shit happening in her head, and she's confronting whatever. Yeah. Like doesn't matter. Yeah,
actually, it would work.
I think it would work really well. I think it would give it a cool vibe.
Yeah, and the gameplay component wise, it seems to be a place he works from a lot. Like you got your guns and everything as well. Plus the weird like psychogenetic powers.
And she's like an agent, so she would have this arsenal of like gun porn, and all this shit, and the mitochondria stuff. He could come up with a lot of dope powers.
He's done that. All of his enemies in Metal Gear are all full of crazy cool powers.
Yep.
Even the girl with a bullet magnet shield thing to a vampire.
Fortune. And Vamp. Fat Man. Psycho Mantis. Yeah, like
he could. Cyber Ninja. Grey Fox. That's his name. And then you could also just get into what was the other super? It's like tenderly monster stuff for Death Stranding.
Yeah,
he's already kind of covered that a little bit. So definitely a good fit for him would definitely be Parasite Eve. So bring back Parasite Eve and put Hideo Kojima in charge.
Hell yeah!
Yeah,
we've come a lot of good games this podcast. I feel like.
Yeah. Xenogears would be a really good one because that's a fucking heavy duty head trip. That story, Xenogears, not Saga.
Not the one with the weird lady robot in the spaceship or whatever the fuck that was about.
That was all fucking stupid.
Although it did have like 9-hour-long cutscenes, which Hideo Kojima loves, so maybe.
That's the thing. Actually, he would fit into Xenosaga quite well, but I don't want to give him that option. He'd be like, no, Hideo. Bad. But Xenogears he'd be great at because again it deals with a lot of genetic stuff. The whole Solarian stuff with there's a huge story in Xenogears I can't even get into. But it all does come from a sci-fi source. Like all their powers come from this Zohar generator that deals with genetics and anyways. So it fits into his world. It's not magic because I don't see Hideo Kojima doing magic.
Yeah, no, I don't mean. Well, I mean. Fortune's kind of magic, but not really.
No.
It's nanobots or some shit.
Yeah, he has to have some sort of pseudoscience, Star
bullshit
Trek bullshit to explain it. So, with the characters in Xenogears, all of their abilities come from the fact that all the humans are like consciously connected to an infinite energy machine, and that's why they can produce energy bolts of any kind, and that's how they power the gears and all that kind of stuff, which is just enough pseudoscience to fit his means.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. That's something he would totally come up with.
Yeah. And like the whole like everyone's been genetically programmed so that they're limited and they're not allowed to succeed their potential, and then you break those limits when later on when you go in and blah blah blah. Like it fits so well. Plus, he's done giant robots and giant mechs.
Zone of Enders, right?
Yeah. And so like he's totally got the space for it. It just works perfectly.
Yeah, those are they're both good calls.
And it's a great merge. Like put the Zone of Enders into Xenogears, because that's really all we need. And
I keep losing my thoughts. I just had another one and it exited my brain.
Another game?
Yeah, that he could work on. I would like to see him also take a stab at Dead Space. It's a Western property. Also, based around this character who's going through a deep psychosis in the middle of space about his dead wife and all this shit. And if he took a stab at like something with those kind of themes, I think he could really nail it.
Yeah. Dead Space would be a good one.
The combat of Dead Space isn't like... it's all about cutting and stuff.
I would like to see Hideo Kojima actually tackle like a full-on horror, because I'm thinking about like Parasite, even him tackling the scenes where like all the mutant monster stuff happens, and there are some scenes in Metal Gear Solid that are like you're like ooh,
yeah,
like him doing a full-on horror game, which actually
Silent Hills, yeah,
fuck right.
That's why I'm not saying it, because I don't want to hurt
everyone's feelings.
Yeah,
fuck right.
Just in general, I don't want to hurt.
It would have been good.
Yeah.
There's the game he should have been working on.
Yes indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, horror genre, anything that's got a good cerebral sci-fi flow.
Yeah, anything with a good like head trip, right? Like that could totally work.
Totally work. I really wouldn't toss him in on anything else. Anything that's going to be too emotional for character.
Crash Bandicoot.
No, but I mean, like, if I was going to be like, oh, toss him into the next Last of Us or something. No.
No.
Like his relationship where he's like, oh, boss and big boss, they love each other. I'm like, I'm like, go shoot her. Why are we having so many roses? Stop it. Like,
yeah, no. I wouldn't want him on a game like that.
No. And plus, all of his relationships he ever builds into any game are always like so destructive. Like, Raiden's relationship, if you read the fucking Metal Gear Wikipedia, he leaves her, gets back together with her, has a kid, and goes off and gets more cyber things, and then comes back, remarries her, and then like is sad, and then like gets a human body, but then doesn't, and then the kid, and like it's like Rose and him have this horrible relationship, and then like with Snake or any of them, it's like, oh, bad relationship, broken up. That's like Hideo Kojima's only view on the world is that everything is just awful. I have a robo-dick now. Yeah. That's it for 5 Minute Warning. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Mm-hmm. If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at TheCalG. Mike is at Mike Kent Draws. Pens and Pixels across all social medias. Pick your poison. Pick your poison. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe for us on iTunes, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Leave us a comment. Ask us questions. Puts up a list of questions for us to do another 5 Minute Warning. You guys seem to like these. We'd like to talk to you. And be sure to always check us out on YouTube as well and subscribe to us there, because we put the podcast up there. Plus, we'll have some fresh and new content coming there soon. Also, if there are visuals tied to any of our podcasts, we toss them up there, so that way you don't hear us talking about what we're looking at, because that's boring. So, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Yeah. # Hideo for Parasite.